Title: What They Let Me Believe Before I Knew How to Discern. Author's statement of clarity and discernment. I write this with sobriety, humility, and truth, acknowledging that discernment is something that grows over time and not something I possessed fully as a child. This work is written to clarify what I once believed versus what I later understood through Scripture, maturity, and spiritual awareness. I openly state that I was not yet a teenager during the season described here, and therefore did not have the tools to separate fiction, imagination, spiritual truth, and fear-based storytelling. This series is not written to accuse filmmakers, storytellers, or genres, but to testify that what children consume without guidance can shape belief systems long before discernment forms. As written in Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." This writing exists to expose misunderstanding, not to glorify fear. Introduction to the series. This series reflects on early exposure to movies across many genres, particularly horror and paranormal-themed films that presented spiritual concepts as physical spectacle. I did not know then what I know now. I watched as a child, believing what I saw was not metaphor, not exaggeration, but reality. Dolls, objects, rooms, and homes were portrayed as vessels of demonic possession, and without context or truth, I absorbed those ideas as facts. I now understand that fear without discernment becomes belief, and belief without truth becomes bondage. This series is written without naming specific movies, not out of avoidance, but out of responsibility. The focus is not the titles, but the impact. The story. Before I was old enough to question what I was seeing, I was taught through screens instead of Scripture. I watched stories that presented evil as transferable through objects, as if darkness could casually inhabit dolls, toys, mirrors, or furniture simply by proximity. I did not understand metaphor, symbolism, or cinematic exaggeration. To me, it was real. I went to bed believing my surroundings could turn against me, that objects could watch, wait, or act on their own. No one explained spiritual truth to me. No one said this is fiction, this is storytelling, this is fear designed to entertain. As a child, I trusted what I was shown. They did not tell me the truth, or perhaps they assumed I would not believe it literally. But I did. Later, Scripture corrected what movies confused. I learned that demonic influence does not function like a virus hopping from object to object. Scripture teaches that spiritual warfare involves people, hearts, minds, and choices, not haunted toys. As written in Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." That verse does not speak of furniture, it speaks of influence. I also learned that fear is a tool. Movies used it to hold attention, not to tell truth. As written in 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind." What I experienced as a child was not a sound mind, it was an overstimulated imagination shaped by images without explanation. This does not mean evil is imaginary. Evil is real. Spiritual deception is real. But distortion is also real. When truth is exaggerated, misrepresented, or sensationalized, especially to children, it creates false frameworks that take years to dismantle. I carried unnecessary fear into rooms, closets, and nights because I believed stories meant to scare, not instruct. Discernment came later. I learned that possession in Scripture involves people, not objects, and that even then it exists under God's authority, not chaos. I learned that Christ's presence is not fragile, and darkness does not casually overtake what belongs to Him. As written in 1 John chapter 4 verse 4, "Greater is He that is in you, than he that is in the world." This series exists to say plainly, I believed what I saw because I was too young to know better. I am not ashamed of that, but I am responsible for speaking truth now. Fear planted early can take root deep, but truth uproots it completely. This is not about blaming the screen alone. It is about acknowledging that discernment must be taught, not assumed, and that children deserve clarity when imagination is powerful and understanding is still forming. I write this as a testimony of growth, correction, and freedom, one continuous reflection, grounded in truth rather than fear.